In this video, I'm going to show you how I painted this gorgeous Moonlight Magic scene entirely in acrylics. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I've painted this fun acrylic lesson for you just in time for Valentine's. I've also created a free PDF material list to accompany this video, along with the tracings and templates. These are completely for free and available on my online school. The links for those are in the description box below. And if this painting has got you in the mood for Valentine's, then do check out my free Valentine Rose tutorial. And again, I'll put the links to that in the description box below. Also guys, if you are enjoying the tutorials on this channel, please give me those all important thumbs up and also add your comments in the description box below. Let's jump to the tutorial. So I begin by covering a canvas, well I'm using a canvas board, entirely with black gesso. I'm actually using an old board for this, one that I'd previously done another painting on. Once you've got a good covering on there, you want to then use a hairdryer to dry that off. Okay, I begin with some Frisket film, and what I'm trying to do here is mask off our romantic couple. Now I end up completely changing my mind over this. As you'll see during this video, I have quite a bit of trouble with this, but I thought I'd actually just include this in for you guys. One, because I think you'll find it amusing, and two, if you are struggling with this, you'll have another option as well. So I begin by turning over some graphite paper, make sure it's the shiny side down, and I then position my template and begin to draw over the couple. Once I've drawn out my figures, I then cut out the template. So it's actually at this point that things start to go wrong. As I try to separate the film from the backing paper, I spend absolutely ages. If any of you guys have got a better way of doing this, please put it in the comments below, because I struggled and struggled to the point where I even got Gary to come and help, and that didn't work either. In the end, I decided to abandon this whole idea and switch over to using masking tape. So I got very frustrated. So what I did now is lay down sheets of masking tape on the board in the position where I wanted to put my couple. And I overlap the tape. Here I'm just showing you the demonstration. I overlap the tape. And then I do the same thing with the carbon paper or the graphite paper, transfer my image over, and then use a craft knife. So I go again over with that paper, draw out my image, go around that image, and then once you've done that, you simply take your craft knife and go around that image, and you end up with what I've got over on the in the center. So as you remove the tape around, you're left with that lovely template. And I found this much easier than trying to use the Frisk masking tape. So once I've got my couple in place, the next job is to create a template for our moon. So you want to find yourself something in your studio, in the house, a small plate. I'm using this, this small plastic bin, and I'm going to use that for my template for the moon. So I'm back to using the Frisk contact paper and drawing my circle onto that. I'm hoping for better results with the moon than I did with the couple, hoping that with it being a bigger shape, it might be just a little bit easier. Cut out the shape, being nice and careful to make sure that this is a perfect circle. So I'm quite happy with the shape of my circle, and I test that over my couple. We don't want to be putting this on just yet. We're going to be doing a bit of painting first. Now what I'm doing here is once again trying to separate the film from the backing, and honestly this was such hard work. The struggle is real, guys. So again, if you do have any suggestions on how this can be done a little bit easier, I'd love to know. And finally, I do manage to peel the edge, and what I do is put a little bit of paper in between, some of the backing paper in between, just to have that nice and ready for later. We're not going to be using this right away, so put that to one side and we're going to get those paints out. Okay, so I'm going to begin with a lovely pink colour, and again I've put all of the materials that I've used in the free PDF, and the link for that is in the description below, and it's available on my MazArt online school. Here I'm switching to a lovely pale blue. If you feel the paint is a little sticky, then use some water just to mist that paint. And here I'm adding a little white as well, really keeping these strokes very, very loose and flip-flop. Just keep layering these colours. A little bit of extra pink and some more of that blue. Now I'm switching to some ultramarine blue and getting some more of that layers. What we're doing at this point, we're actually getting some lovely colours in the moon and sort of underpainting that moon. Going back now to that lighter blue and then some white as well, and really kind of patting these colours on. There's quite a lot of paint there. Now what I'm doing is spraying a rag, and I'm going to actually start lifting off to reveal some of that black underneath. And I'm using a little bit of a twisted motion to kind of mottle and lift up that colour from underneath. And this of course is revealing the black of the canvas. Now I'm straight with the white and the rag and just tapping that on and just patting those colours together and getting a really lovely mottled effect. Now I'm back to the white, and I want to make sure that there's lots of light behind our couple, because of course when we remove that masked area we want that lovely dark black from the gesso to peek through, and in order to get that lovely contrast we want to make sure it's quite light around the couple. I'm now using black to continue layering these different mottled effects to get some really good, interesting effects in our moon. Don't worry about the outer edge. We will be putting our mask on there shortly, and we'll be able to neaten and sharpen everything up. So don't worry about trying to create a circle at this point. Main thing to focus on at this stage is getting that lovely mottled effect and some real nice texture using the paint. Here I'm adding a few bits of that pink as well, just for some extra interest. And once I'm happy with everything, of course get that hairdryer out and dry everything off. Okay, so everything's nice and dry now, and we can go back to our film and remove the backing and position the moon exactly where you want it. Right over the top of your couple. We're not going to remove any of that yet. And now we can continue adding some extra layers. So I'm going to be using some black and some ultramarine blue for a really nice dark, starting in the corners, and I'm using a very loose flip-flop stroke so that some of that black gesso from underneath is allowed to peek through as well. We want the corners to be nice and dark. Now I'm adding some white to the mixture, and just around the moon we're going to go a little bit lighter and gradually blend out into the darker colours that we've already laid down. Now it is important that you put the paint on very, very thick and heavy in order to give yourself plenty of blending time, and then where necessary use that mister to soften and spray, and again that just buys you a little bit of extra blending time. I am working fairly quickly, and I'm constantly adding those layers. Just keep adding more and more very thick paint and working the colours together. Here I've added a little bit of pink right at the lower end. So right at that horizon line I want to start dancing in some of this pink colour, and again notice how loose these brush marks are. I really want to try and create this lovely mottled effect and let all these colours peek through. Back into that blue now as we blend towards those darker corners. Now here I'm wanting to try and create a little bit of a glow around the outside edge of the moon. So while everything's still wet, I'm picking up some white and creating a little bit of a glow and a little bit of a lighter area right around that moon, creating a little bit of a circle around the moon. And again, everything's still wet. We will be doing a little dry brushing shortly, but while this is still wet, I'm trying to get as much of these wonderful mottled colours in place. Back to that pink now, dancing in some of those colours, and make sure you get enough light between the couple's legs. Again, we want that dark silhouette, and we need the light in order to show those darker colours. Here I'm using a fan brush and some titanium white, and I've watered the white down a little bit, and now I'm just going to splatter and create some stars in this sky. And once again, we're going to use that hairdryer and dry everything off. Now, do be careful when you use the hairdryer. I actually found that my mask actually lifted, the moon lifted. So just be aware of that and maybe keep your fingers on there. Once everything is dry, I'm switching to a bristle brush and very, very little paint, and I'm using a pale blue. And I'm going to go all the way around that moon using this dry brush technique, just rubbing that on there to try and create a lovely glow around the moon. I'll dry that off once again, keeping my fingers in place so the mask doesn't come away. And once I'm happy with that and everything's nice and dry, I'm going to repeat that procedure using titanium white. Very, very little on the brush when you're doing a dry brush technique. And I'm going all around the edge just to create that wonderful glow. When we actually remove that, that tape, we'll be able to see this gorgeous glow around the moon. Keep adding layers to this glow, drying in between until you've got something you're happy with. Next, I'm switching straight to black now, and I'm going to begin creating the tree over on the left hand side. I'm keeping this quite loose and allowing the tree not to be perfectly straight, but to have a little bit of character to it as well. Once you have all of your branches in place, you want to switch to a little bit of kitchen towel. Scrunch that up and then go into the black and very lightly begin to create some leaves on the tree. Keep twisting your arm around so that your shapes don't create a pattern and you keep things nice and irregular. Continue using this wonderful scrunching technique to create some bushes and some stuff going on in the foreground. We want that wonderful silhouette against those lovely pink tones. Once again, use that hairdryer to dry everything off. Okay, here comes the big reveal, and we're going to remove the frizz tape from the canvas to reveal our moon shape. Once again, I'm just going to go over everything with the hairdryer. I'm back with the black gesso now, and I'm going to create a few branches that are going to go right over the moon. And again, this is just for some extra interest. Adding on a few leaves as well, using the little scrunching technique with a paper towel. I'm going to add a few branches and some grasses and just some other bits and stuff going on in that background, and just for some extra interest before we remove the masking tape from our romantic couple. And once again, use that hairdryer to dry everything off. So I'm using a little craft knife just to get right underneath the masking tape, and I'm going to just lightly pull that back and reveal our lovely romantic couple. I'm using a flat brush now and some black gesso just to go over any areas that have not quite taken as well, and just to neaten a few things up. And I'm also going to go out of my lines a little bit and make it look as though this is hair in that silhouette. Just tidying the edges. And here you can see when I originally did the hair, I kept everything quite simple, but just so that I didn't have to cut around a load of detailing. But now we can just go over that and really give us some wonderful long locks. And finally, I want to put some nice sparkling stars in place. So I'm using a very pale blue here, and I've watered it down with a little bit of water, and I'm using this lovely flicking stroke to get a nice tapered edge. We want to put a few sparkling stars. Of course, you can put as many as these in as you want. And once I've got that basic shape in there, I'm going to go into very thick titanium white and put a little sparkle right in the center to really make these look sparkly and shiny. And finally, I'm going back to the moon, and I'm using a small flat brush and laying that flat on the canvas just to create a little bit of texture and some more details in that moon. I've used a little bit of black there, and now I'm doing the same just with white, just laying that on just to get some lovely texture in that moon. I'm using my finger just to push and blend those colours together. Finally, I sign the painting, and then I decide to go back with some of that lovely pink and using a wonderful splattering technique by thinning the pink down with a little water, and we'll just splatter on some of that pink in the sky, but particularly at the lower edge. And I think that's a finished painting. I really do hope you guys enjoy painting this one as much as I did. And remember, if you are on the MazArt tribe on Facebook, do come on over there and share your versions with me on there. And if you are enjoying these tutorials on this channel, again, don't forget to give me that like and that all important thumbs up. It does help with the algorithm and it really does help support this channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again in the next video.